All praises unto the Most High. Father, we're giving thanks unto thee, for thou art merciful and kind to thy servant and to thy people, the house of Israel. We're giving thanks unto thee, Father, for your mercies is like wider than the sea and deeper than the deepest ocean. We give thanks unto thee, Father, for your love is forever and endureth for all generations. Right? Now, Israel, we're here again with um, another lesson. And, this is definitely, you know, something which really and truly a lot of us might take for granted, right? All because the beauty of a woman, right? And sometimes with that beauty lies beneath is death and destruction. And this is not so much an attack on women at all. My sisters that are virtuous and upright, all praises, because we are not here to, you know, cut down anyone, but we're here just to bring truth, right? So we're really here to deal with the Jezebel spirit, right? And this Jezebel spirit is something that is very strong in the earth right now because the enemy, which uses the Jezebel spirit to go against the man, right? And this is something not new. This has been, from, before us, as the scripture states in Ecclesiastic, that there is nothing new underneath the sun, right? And it goes to show you that this spirit is a very strong spirit. And, we have to know and identify these spirits, right? It might not be in the, terms of where, that spirit is probably trying to, to, you know, to kill anybody, but it also can be a spirit of trying to be defiant against our authority, right? Or trying to be, against the head of the family, which is the man, right? And so on and so forth, right? So this here, Israel, is going deep into that, Delilah spirit, where to deceive and to pretend and to lie that, you know, everything is okay when really and truly it's not, because the spirit of Jezebel is a spirit of deception and a spirit of murder, right? Or a spirit of constant manipulation, right? Never ending, right? And always thinking that they are in the right and, they are sometimes the victim, right? Not necessarily so. So we're going to dive into that today, Israel, right? And, I have a video here to show you. And, it goes to show that when you have that spirit upon you, you go to any lengths to do anything which is to your own liking, which is a selfish spirit as well, right? That spirit is a spirit where it only thinks about itself, right? And will go to any length to, satisfy that self need or want, right? So, Israel, we're going to touch scriptures as well to deal with that Jezebel spirit. And also, we'll be going into this video, right? So, with no further ado, Israel, right? Let's get into it.
The Boynton Beach Police Department, a small building in a quiet South Florida town. But what came out of here could hardly have been any bigger or louder. Terry Parker, investigative reporter for WPBF 25 News, covered the story.
So this guy Muhammad walks into the Boynton Beach police station and he says, I know a woman who's trying to hire a hitman to kill her husband.
She asked if I knew someone who can kill her husband for her.
The man, Mohammed Shahadi, was recorded as he talked to detectives about his one-time lover, Dalia DiPolito. He tells police he's speaking out to save the man's life.
Are you scared for the guy?
Yes, because she's really, dead serious on getting this done.
It's quite a story, if true, because while he can describe Dalia,
She's maybe 5'6", 5'7", dark black hair. She's a good-looking girl. Really good-looking girl, actually.
he can't even tell cops her last name or her address.
Well, at the time, we didn't know what to believe. We were kind of, weren't sure what we had.
They had their reservations. They had to say, let's see some proof.
To get proof, the cops make Mohammed a confidential informant. He arranges to meet Dalia at this gas station. Cops are staked out as their mystery woman arrives.
And she actually stepped out of the car. We were surprised because she didn't look like the type.
She didn't look like a killer, but Detective Alex Moreno says she's about to show her true colors.
Hey, what's up?
She gets into Mohammed's silver Lexus. While you can't quite see them on the hidden camera cops had installed, you can sure hear them talking about a hitman.
This guy's a professional. It's not bull.
Once she gets in the car and she meets up with the informant, we realized that this guy was credible.
His mom is not going to be suspicious of you or anything like
Why
that.
me? Like, do you know what
You
telling
say
somebody
that-
it? Nobody's going to be able to point a finger at me.
She's just talking about it like she's ordering lunch.
Randy Schultz is a columnist for the Sun Sentinel newspaper.
You think, this is just so cold, not really acting like the typical newlywed, shall we say.
Mohammed tells Dalia the hitman wants $1,200 to buy a gun. She comes prepared. She has a wad of cash in her bag and counts it out and hands it over. And shortly afterward, gives him a photo of Mike.
Wipe my pants off the pictures.
I have to pause it there, Israel, real quick. So it shows you that, even when that, you might see, somebody looking good on the outside, doesn't mean necessarily all the time that that is the case on the inside, because, in Jeremiah said it, perfectly well, where, the heart, is deceiving, who can truly know it, right? So you can never really know someone by just looking at them, right? And this is the spirit of Jezebel, because she's saying to wipe her fingers off the picture so you don't leave any evidence. So she's even knowledgeable of knowing that, I don't want to be implicated in anything or anything that can come back to me. I just want it to happen where this person is dead, right? And this is on a different level, because this person is your husband. He's not like a guy where you just meet the other day and he's probably trying to abuse you or abusing you, and you just try to do something about it. But this is something where, not to say that that's even good as well, but we're only showing you that there is not even a probable cause for it. She just have a feeling, say, you know what, this is not working out, I need to get out of this relationship. So the best way to do so, is to get the person killed, right? So let's continue.
Really? You're going to give him something with fingerprints all over?
And at that moment, the detectives realize, we've got her. This is real. She just handed him $1,200 in a picture of the husband that she wants murdered.
We were shocked how easily she talked about getting her husband killed.
2 days later, the talk turns to action in the CVS parking lot. She's not there to pick up a prescription.
So I came here, I pretty much parked in this exact spot right here.
This is Whitty Jean, an undercover police officer.
She parked one to the third space from here.
Police say Dalia thinks she is meeting an actual hitman in his cherry red convertible.
We're staying in here, right?
All right, yeah.
Okay.
He makes his plan crystal clear.
I'm going to tell you how I'm going to do it and when exactly it's going to be done.
A burglary gone wrong that leaves Mike dead.
Everybody works in the daytime.
Right.
When he's at work, when he's not at work, then, he gets to it ahead.
The undercover detective, he really wants to nail Dalia, make sure he's got it on tape and on camera that she is really going to pay him to kill her husband. And he says,
You know, this is what, is really crazy. So I have to quickly go to the scriptures, Israel. You know what I mean? She's going to pay him to kill her husband. So it tells you about that Jezebel spirit, right? That, the father, told us about. Now, let's go to, this is 1 Kings chapter 18 and 4. Well, I'm going to read from verse 3 right here, right? And it reads, and Ahab called Obadiah, which was a governor of his house. Now, Obadiah feared the Most High greatly, right? Now, Obadiah is one of the prophets, right? And, you can read Obadiah as well. It's in the Bible, right? Now, check this out. For it was so when Jezebel cut off the prophets of the Most High that Obadiah took 100 prophets and hid them by 50 in a cave and fed them with bread and water, right? So this goes to show you that, Jezebel was the wife of Ahab, right? And, she was a woman that she had a wicked spirit on her. And this spirit, right, where even when the Most High's prophet was coming to give, righteous and upright, decrees from the Most High, and if it didn't work with her, she basically would get them killed. And now it's the same principle as in, this scenario right here with this woman and her husband, right? So let's continue.
are you sure, Dahlia?
Between now and when it's
And
done.
if you notice, her name is what? Dahlia. Now, Dahlia's close to what? Delilah. You see, you can't make these things up, Israel. You cannot make these things up.
You're not gonna have an option to change your mind, even if you change your mind.
No, there's no, I'm determined
Definitely
already.
you wanna
I'm
do this.
positive, 5,000% sure.
There it is. The press would have a field day with this line. Listen again.
No, she said she is sure that she wants her husband to be dead. So she's 500% sure. She's not 100%, nor 200, nor even 3. She gone to 5,000%. So she's telling you she's sure that she wants this man to be dead, and she's willing to go to whatever extent to do so, because that spirit, as I told you, of Jezebel will go to any length to satisfy whatever desire. Now let's continue.
Again, she's 5,000% sure.
I'm positive, 5,000% sure. No, when I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it.
No, she wasn't just 100% sure. She was 5,000% sure that she wanted her husband killed.
I was a little shocked because I didn't think she was going to be that open.
Dahlia never backs off.
No, I'm not going to, I'm a lot tougher than what I look. I know you're like, oh, what a cute little girl, whatever. But I'm not.
You're extremely beautiful.
Thank you, but, I just need to make sure everything's going to get taken care of.
The not-so-cute little girl agrees to a plan. She will leave the house early Wednesday morning.
I'll be in the house by 6:30 Wednesday morning, 6 o'clock.
Sure enough, she's at this gym around 6 a.m. Wednesday, leaving Mike DiPolito home alone, in bed, still recovering from liposuction from 2 weeks before.
At this point, the police have all the evidence they need. These are experienced officers. You know that you have enough. You have a case. Done. End of story. But not end of television show.
Television show?
Bad boys, what you gonna do when they come for you?
That's right. Turns out a reality show has come to Boynton Beach.
Got the video?
Yep.
And the timing couldn't be better. They'll be able to film the last part of the police investigation.
Detectives, they were going to stage this fake crime scene.
I hear a banging on the door.
Yes. Sergeant Sheridan, Police Department.
The TV show cameras are rolling when police wake up Mike. That's Officer Moreno at the door.
Your wife has hired a person to kill you. Just relax.
Take it easy.
Take a deep breath.
Better sit down.
The guy was totally in shock that this was going on.
I was very surprised. I was like, because then it hit me like, this is a mess.
They drive him away and transform the street to make it appear they're really investigating Mike's murder. The TV show Cops, along with Boynton Beach police, have cameras rolling when a detective calls Dahlia at the gym.
We're at your residence, ma'am. Can you come right back to your residence, please?
She's back in a flash, and now watch carefully. You be the judge of what happens next.
Is your husband Michael? Okay, I'm sorry to tell you, ma'am. He's been killed. He's been killed, ma'am. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, Israel, no, look at this. This girl right here. She's not easy. She, is crying and pretending like she knew nothing, and she is distraught, and she can't believe that this, has happened to her husband, right? No, if she was an actor, she probably would have been, not a bad one, you know what I mean? Because for you to just get up and just to push out emotions like that, you have to be on another level. Your spirit is of a serious demonical, spirit, where this is on another level, right? So let's continue.
Try to calm down.
We know the cops are acting.
I can't let you see it, ma'am.
What about Dahlia?
I need you to take her to the station.
Amidst all of that tremors and shaking of her body, there wasn't any real tears coming out of her eyes.
The crying,
and there you go. In all that, no tears was coming out. She was just, pretending, and because she knew, you know what I mean? She knew what was taking place. Let's continue, Israel.
the screaming, the bending over. Meryl Streep, wherever you are tonight, don't worry, you're safe.
They hustled Dahlia off to this interrogation room for questioning. Another recorded moment.
Are you sure that you don't know anybody who want to kill your husband? You wouldn't want to kill him, I hope. Not at all.
It's almost like something out of Law and Order.
There's no more games with you and I. Now we're going to get down to serious business. I want to know if you know this guy. Come here.
They bring in Officer Witty Jean, the supposed hitman from the car.
Get over here. You know who this guy is?
No,
You've never seen him before?
I've never seen him before.
She just stared at him. She said she didn't know him.
And then call it a resurrection.
Oh my God.
He's alive.
Police have another surprise for Dahlia DiPolito.
Yeah, please, come here. Mike, come here.
She sees her husband, and he's alive.
The show Cops captures this moment as well.
Come here, please, come here. Why not? I didn't do anything to you. Mike, come here, please.
Now look at her. She's not crying. You know what I mean, Israel? She's just playing a role. She's saying, "Oh, come here," right? To pretend and to deceive and to lie that she is in any way remorseful or, surprised that, her husband is not dead. In herself, she's like, damn, man, I can't believe this dude is still alive, right? But let's continue. Let's see what happens.
What? You're alive? I love that moment, and I'm sure a jury will too.
You're going to jail today for solicitation of murder. You're under arrest.
I didn't do anything.
Did you hear what I just told you?
You kept saying, I didn't do anything.
I didn't do anything.
Was that all you could think of to say?
They were accusing me of trying to have my husband killed, and I didn't.
Didn't?
You see what I'm saying, Israel? She denyingly on TV, when they have all this evidence against her, and she's saying that she didn't do this. She's even trying to convince herself, right? So it goes to show you, Israel, this spirit of Jezebel is not a joke, right? So as I read earlier, right, which this was one of the things that Jezebel was, notorious for, is getting rid of anybody that goes against her, right? So let's read from 11 to 13, right? And it reads, "And now Thou sayest, Go, tell thy Lord, behold, Elijah is here, right? Because they didn't like Elijah a lot because Elijah always come and just give them the truth, you know what I mean? And it shall come to pass as soon as I am gone from thee, that the Spirit of the Most High shall carry thee whither I know not. And so when I come and tell Ahab, which is her husband, and he cannot find thee, he shall slay me. But I, thy servant, fear the Most High from my mouth. Right? So it shows you that, you know, Jezebel was trying to slay anybody in our path who was going against her. Now, look what it says here now. Was it not told by the Most High what I did when Jezebel slew the prophets of the Most High? How I hid 100 men of the Most High's prophets by 50 in a cave and fed them with bread and water. So this is what the Jezebel spirit is. You know, they will go to any lengths just to have their own desire. And it shows you, Elijah was telling you right here that, you know, was it not told to you that Jezebel slew the prophets? So she didn't care if there were, you know, the men of the Most High, you know what I mean? That didn't count to her. As long as you were, you know, not working in the accordance to how she wants things to go, you're going down. Now let's go to another chapter, right? Which is First Kings 19, right? And I'm going to read here, starting from 1 to, let's go down to about 4, right? And it reads, And Ahab told Jezebel all that Elijah had done, and with how he had slain all the prophets with the sword, right? And Jezebel sent a messenger to Elijah, saying, So let the Elohim that do to me and more also, if I make not thy life as the life of one of them by tomorrow about this time. So she was sending a big threat. She was saying, Yo, bro, you know what I mean? If you come back anytime around here, you know what I mean? And we see you, you won't be living, basically, right? She's telling you she's getting rid of you. Now, let's continue. And when I saw that he arose and went for his life and came to Bathsheba, which belongeth to Judah, and left his servants there. Right? So it shows you, the Father is telling you that, you know, that spirit of Delilah is a wicked one, right? Catch this now. But he himself went a day journey into the wilderness and came and sat down under a juniper tree, and he requested for himself that he might die, and said, It is enough. Now, O Elohim, take away my life, for I am not better than my fathers. You see that, Israel? Because the men knew that Jezebel was a wicked woman, and she would stop at nothing to show you her colors, right? Now, let's find out who is Jezebel now, right? So this is First Kings chapter 21, right? So I'm going to read from chapter 5, and it reads, But Jezebel is the wife to came to him and said unto him, Why is thy spirit so sad that thou eatest no bread? Now, Jezebel is the wife of Ahab, right? So Ahab this story here real quickly is that he wanted a land to buy from somebody and they wouldn't sell him the vineyard. And when he didn't get the land, when he went back home, he was very, upset about it. Jezebel, as his wife, basically said to him that, you know, don't worry about it. You know what I mean? We're going to work it out. I'm going to take care of it, right? And her way of taking care of things is always what? Murdering and plotting and deceiving. Now, here it goes again, just as what the video was showing you. And he said unto her, because I speak unto Naboth the Jezreelite, and said unto him, give me thy vineyard for money, or else, if it please thee, I will give thee another vineyard for it. And he answered, I will not give thee my vineyard, right? And Jezebel his wife said unto him, doest thou not govern the kingdom of Israel? Arise and eat bread, and let thine heart be merry. I will give thee the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite, right? So she already started planning already, Israel, to say, you know what? You don't worry about it. I will sort this out. You will get that vineyard, right? But Ahab's way of doing it wasn't to try to kill him. It was just trying to negotiate a deal. But, as you know, Jezebel wasn't not with that, right? And Ahab was also the king at the time, of Israel. Now, let me continue. So she wrote the letter in Ahab's name. So you see the deceit and the lie starting right there again in Israel, and sealed them with his seal. So there's deceit again, Israel. And sent the letter unto the elders and to the nobles that were in the city dwelling with Naboth, right? So it shows you she start, the momentum of carrying out a deceitful work. Watch this now. And she wrote in the letter saying, proclaiming a fast, and set Naboth on a high among the people, and set two men, sons of Belial, before him to bear witness against him, saying, thou didst blaspheme the Most High and the king, and then carried him out and stoned him that he may die. Right? So she plotted against him, saying that he blasphemed when, Naboth didn't do so, right? And then the men of the city, even the elders and the nobles, right, who were the inhabitations in his city, did as Jezebel had sent unto them, and as it was written in the letter which she had sent unto them. They proclaimed a fast and set Naboth on high among the people. So they plotted against the man because he didn't want to do what, Ahab wanted. So Jezebel told lies, just as what this girl did. Even when they caught her, she was saying that she didn't do it. Now, listen. And there came into two men, the children of Belial, and sat before him. And the men of Belial witnessed against him, even against Naboth, in the presence of the people, saying, Naboth did blaspheme the Most High and the king. Then they carried him forth out of the city and stoned him with stones that he died. Right? Now listen what Jezebel did know. Then they sent to Jezebel, saying, Naboth is stoned and is dead. And it came to pass when Jezebel heard that Naboth was stoned and was dead, that Jezebel said to Ahab, "Arise, take possession of the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite, which he refused to give thee for money. Nor Naboth is not alive, but dead." So it goes to show you here, Israel, that that spirit of Jezebel is a wicked one, right? She end up conjuring a lie, telling the people that he blasphemed against the Most High, send a letter to the elders and the nobles. And in those days, if you do those things, you blaspheme against the Most High and against the king, you are liable to be stoned to death, right? In them days, people don't play about when it comes on to that, right? So it shows you right here, right? So let's go to Ecclesiasticus. So this is from the Apocrypha, which is known as the book of Sirach, right? Which is a part of the Bible, which obviously they omitted, but, and I see why, because the information here is above par. Now watch this. Blessed is the man that had a virtuous wife, for the number of his days shall be doubled. So blessed is the man that has a virtuous wife, not a wicked wife, right? Check this. A virtuous woman rejoiceth her husband, and he shall fulfill the years of his life in peace. Unfortunately, not like this girl right here, right? Who basically will not have any form of remorse for what she did. So if you live with a wicked woman, you're liable to be set up and killed, right? A good woman is a good portion, which shall be given in the portion of them that fear the Most High, right? See that, Israel? That's what a good woman is, right? Whether a man be rich or poor, if he have a good heart towards the Most High, he shall at all times rejoice with a cheerful countenance. Why is that? There be three things that mine heart feareth, and for the fourth I shall sore afraid, a slander of the city, which what Jezebel did. She gave a slander to the city, which is a lie. The gathering together of an unruly multitude. So what she did, she gathered the people to do something which was not right, right? And actually led them to sin. Watch this. A false accusation. You see that, Israel? And that's what she did. She laid a false accusations against Naboth. She laid a false accusation against her husband, right? And she wanted him killed. So you see, these are the comparisons. It shows you that spirit does not change. Now watch this. All these are the worse than death, right? All these are worse than death. Now watch this here now, Israel. I'm going to go down to, let's go to 7, right? And look what it says. An evil wife is a yoke shaken to and fro. He that had hold of her is as though he had had a scorpion. You see that, Israel? He that had an evil wife is a yoke shaken to and fro. He that had hold of her is like though he had a scorpion. So if you have a scorpion in your hand, shaking it up and down, you're about to get sting, right? And it could be dangerous, could lose your life, right? Venomous. A drunken woman and a gabber abroad cause great anger. She will not cover her own shame. So a woman who likes to talk and go all about, these are the things that, a Jezebel spirit will do. It tells you here, nobody is is escaping the word of the Most High. Watch this. Whoredom of a woman may be known in her haughty looks and eyelids. Woo! So if you go on the road, sometimes you might see a lady looking very, you know, well decorated, and she's wearing a lot of, you know, tightly fitted clothes. You know, the most I considered that to be some, you know, a form of whoredom, because you're supposed to dress, you know, in modest apparel, and you should not show yourself, because, you know, your body is a temple, and it should be for that only person should see, which is your husband, right? So it shows you all these are spirit of Jezebel. Now, this is not to, as I said before, to, you know, to come at any woman any in the wrong way, but we're just highlighting a spirit, and this spirit is a demonical spirit, and you can identify these things and know that, you know what, if I am in any way doing anything, you know, close to this, you know, then you try to, you know, get rid of that spirit, you know, denounce that spirit, divorce that spirit, to be, you know, free from any, you know, unrighteous and evil manner. You know what I mean? So let's continue here, Israel, right? Now look at this. Now the father's going to tell you what, you know, a good woman should do. Like, look at this. Let me actually start from 14, right? All right, let's start from 13. Let's read it from here. The grace of a wife delighted her husband, and her discretion will fatten his bones. So you see, with discretion. So if she's discreet in what she does, it is a, you know, a joy. It's a blessing to her husband. Let's continue. A silent and loving woman is a gift of the Most High, and there is nothing so much worthy as a mind well instructed. Beautifully said, right? Let's go again. Number 15. Shamefaced and faithful woman is a double grace, and her countenance mind cannot be valued. So a woman shamefaced means a woman is humble, and faithful is a double grace, right? To her countenance. That means if you have that within yourself, you're even more attractive, you're more beautiful than just trying to put on, you know, all these glitter and glamour. Just as what you said earlier, with a woman trying to, you know, put on her eyelids and put on these things and ray, and then, you know, it works out to be, you know, a form of being, you know, whoredom. Now, watch this. Let's go, yeah. As the sun arise in high heavens, so is the beauty of a good wife in the order of her house. So it shows you, Israel, that the Most High shows you the good side, where if these things, as you know, as a woman, she do these things, she's a grace unto her husband and in her household. But when she do all these other things, which are the Jezebel spirit, she is of the devil, right? And those things do not lead to life. Those things leads to death, right? So I could continue, Israel, and keep going, but I know that you got the gist, right? So it goes to show you right here, Israel, that, you know, the Jezebel spirit is not a spirit of something which is good, right? It only leads to one thing, as you can see, death, right? So with that said, Israel, I'm going to say all praises unto the Most High. We'll give thanks unto thee, Father, for thou hast been merciful and kind to thy people and to thy servant. I hope this has been edifying to you, Israel, and I pray that the Most High bless you as you go along. All praises unto thee, Father. Shalom, one love.